How you doing, baby? I'm just smooth living. Awesome. Much better. Yeah, so I'll just start off with a little bit about myself, and thank you for the interruption so I can give a proper introduction here. I'm called Renee Hamilton, out of Edmonton, Alberta. I teach quantum, well, I don't really teach anymore, but I show people quantum psychology and how the mind works in certain aspects and the nature of reality. I will express myself as an artist and produce a lot of sacred geometry and quantum interdimensional art that I've transformed into pendants and bracelets and all sorts of really neat knickknacks. Created a technology called quantum nanovortex technology and sell that around the world and get my technology out there to benefit mankind, or beings I should say. And yeah, it's been an awesome trip, and that's brought me here. Kathy and Jerry and I have been friends for quite a while, and they welcomed me here to put this together, and last minute impromptu. So thank you so much for making everything happen and rescuing the situation. So everything works out in divine timing, which is all there is actually. So I'm here to talk to you a bit about some experiences, not really experiences, but certain realizations, that things you may have thought about at one point or another in your life, and really may have pushed it aside because it didn't fit into the box of what reality was supposed to be like. And I do agree, there seems to be 8 billion different realities going on here, but I can assure you there's a lot more than that. That's just any number you put on it is just futile. Yeah, indeed. So, I seem to have stumbled across a series of optical illusions that have seem to have afflicted all of mankind, or at least a great portion of it. And these optical illusions, there's one giant optical illusion actually happening that we call life or the past. And it really is just a concept that it really, if you examine certain key concepts that we all think about: time, space, reality, cause and effect, when we actually sit down with ourselves and examine these concepts and look at them and see if these are real, valid, not valid, you may come to some startling conclusions as to what is actually taking place in this moment in regards to what you think the laws of reality are. And I know for myself, I don't think I was ever encouraged in school at any point in time to sit down for myself with a pen and paper and work out gravity, work out time, space, all these things that supposedly are the laws of the universe. We're sort of conditioned to let the experts handle that. I'm too busy playing or watching TV or whatever. I'm just Joe Blow at work at 7-Eleven pouring Slurpees all day. Leave that to the scientists to figure that out. They'll of course tell us on TV. They'll tell everyone in the world how it all works, and I guess that's the way it is, right? We just sort of assume our way into life without really personally investigating even the basic laws of reality that we supposedly are subject to, like that's unknowable, like only God knows, and we're just this poor slave to just ideas and concepts and powers that we can never know. So, personally, as of about March this year, March 2nd or so, I moved out of what you'd call the three-dimensional reality and entered a different reality that is here in the same spot, so to speak, but it's a different version of reality that when examined, really revealed many of the delusions I had as a dimensional being, if you want to call it like a human consciousness. I call it the human condition because it seems to be a condition that we're afflicted with that doesn't really need to be there, and it actually causes us great suffering and just makes life miserable. Period. It's just it's pretty shocking how miserable it is once you get out of it and can see what's going on. So many people ask, is this state enlightenment? Well, I wouldn't call it anything because there's no definition for what I'm experiencing. And I'll get into that. I'll get into why there's no definition for it. And it may make sense to you. We have a tendency to like to have explanations for things. And it doesn't seem like any explanation really satisfies us because we always find something new to fill our minds with, a new question that will go on and on and on, and we never seem to be satisfied with anything because we always feel that we're missing something. So what I have come into is a state of existence in which I'm recognizing that I don't know anything, that there's nothing really to know, and I'll get into that and explain why. I'm not going to say things and not give explanations as to how I logically come to these conclusions, and they're not really conclusions; they're just seeming conclusions. But we'll get into that. Here we go. So we've all been told since we've been very young that there are 5 senses. Okay, vision, hearing, taste. Thank you. Memory's going. Hearing, touching, smelling, all these 5 senses here. Now, when we're normally walking across the street or driving, we see other cars, we see things happening. Now, typically, the average person doesn't look at a car driving by and say, hey, I'm that car, or a cat, and hey, I'm that cat, or sit there all day and naming out things that they're looking at. Just like we don't hear things like a siren or bird chirping and say, hey, I'm that bird, I'm that siren. Same thing with the cheeseburger or pizza. We don't eat it, say, hey, I'm that thing I'm eating, or smelling, or anything. You know, clearly we're just observing it. We're observing it with our 5 senses. And because we're aware of it, we're sensing it. Our senses make us aware of it. So there's awareness of our senses. Now, there's a 6th sense that we are seemingly not aware of or told about, or I don't know how it happened, but there's a 6th sense that we all have that is with us that we don't know about. And this is not the psychic sense. This is not ESP. This is the sensing of thoughts. Okay? Now, let me bring you back again. When there's a car driving by, you don't say, hey, I'm that car. We all know that. We don't say we're any of our other senses, but there's a sense of thoughts will come into our mind, you can say, that we're sensing because we're noticing them, just like we're noticing, you're all noticing me standing here. And yet we identify, we say, hey, I'm that thing, I'm that thought, I'm that voice speaking, I'm that. Yet, we're the ones sensing it. If we're sensing it, then we must be watching it. Just like I'm watching a car drive by, you're watching a thought in your mind happen. And somehow we began to think we are this thought that we're just sensing. Okay? Now, this thought thinks it's you, thinks it's Renee, and it thinks it knows things. And it starts to tell you things about life, and we, as this awakeness, we look at what these thoughts are saying, and we say, oh, yeah, I like that, or I don't like that. And we sort of pick and choose which thoughts we like, and then sort of repeat these thoughts over and over and over again. And as we go through life, we sort of build a story about what our life is as we're moving along, or seemingly moving along. And we suddenly, one day we find ourselves in a position in which we wonder how in the hell we got here, and why life is so miserable, and why it's so hard to experience joy. And we just become lost. We're lost. We're looking for ourselves. We're looking for joy. We're looking for happiness. We're looking for love. We're looking for everything because we just feel empty. And this is all because there's a voice speaking to us. Now, I want to get into this voice and what it means and where it's coming from, and I want to ask you personally, for each one of you, to decide whether this voice is real or not, because I'm going to give you some reasoning here that may dawn upon you as to what is occurring. And I'm going to speak about many different angles about what is occurring, not just thoughts. And I'm going to ask you to ask yourself these really pertinent questions. And these questions are going to help you look further into yourself to see if what you're experiencing is real or not real. Okay, and this is for you to decide, not for me to teach you anything. Okay? So we all know that if someone you don't know comes up to you and says, hey, I know you, you're the person who broke into my house last week and stole my stereo, or something like that. And you know personally that that's not true. I didn't do that. I don't even like, listen to music, or who knows what. Point being is that person is incorrect because, number one, they don't know you. Number two, they would have to, we all know if someone judges us, they have to walk a mile in your shoes to know who you are. They have to be you to know you. Clearly, someone can't just walk up to you randomly and say something and be correct about it, because they don't know the vastness of what you are. So their thought or opinion about you clearly is not true or valid, because their thought or opinion of you has never been you. That thought or opinion can't be you, because a thought can't be anything. A thought can't be a living person. A thought can't be anything. So if a thought has never been anything, like an object, this is not a thought, this is something here. This is not a thought, this is a real thing here. Now, so a thought's never been anything or a person. If a thought's never been anything or a person, then how can a thought ever have any experience to know what it's talking about? How could a thought even come up with an answer to anything if it's never been alive to know anything? It's just a thought. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. If I was to ask you, per se, to describe yourself right now, fully, without thinking about it, you probably couldn't do that, because you need to think of something to say. However, in our minds, when we want to describe ourselves to someone, we go in our memory, we start thinking about how old we are, our height, weight, what we look like, what we like to eat, friends, girlfriends, wives, parties we went to, good times we had, and we say, oh, all these events made me who I am today. This is who I am, this is what I represent, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe, this is who I am. Now, we must pay attention and notice that all these things that we just characterize ourselves by or describe ourselves by, these are a compilation of thoughts. Let's just say 500 main ideas make you who you are. Now we're looking at these 500 ideas right here and saying, yeah, that's who I am. That's all these ideas, all these experiences, all these memories, this is it. Okay? But we have to realize that's a series of 500 thoughts. Are you a thought? Are you 500 thoughts? Clearly you're not 500 thoughts or one thought. So if you thought you were those thoughts that you're describing, how can that be true? If you're the one looking at the thoughts and saying, yeah, just 500 thoughts are me. Wait, someone's there speaking, someone's there watching these thoughts. You can't be a thought. Are you a thought? No one here's a thought. So why is their description of themselves a thought? Clearly that can't be true. Since when has one thought ever described anything accurately ever in the history of mankind? All 40 years of experience, 39, 50, 20 years old, however you're old. There's a lot of experience, a lot of depth, a lot of emotions, a lot of deepness going on. For me to say, oh, you're a human, what does the word human, how does that encapsulate years and years and years of depth, of experience, of what really living is like? Any thought that you put upon a person or a thing can never fully describe the whole reality of that thing. So every thought that you label onto something is clearly not true, because a thought can't know anything. A thought has never been anyone or anything to know anything. So it's just pretending to know things. A thought pretends to know you, pretends to know the way to happiness, pretends to know, if you do this, if you only do this, life will get better. So follow me, and I will show you the way to salvation, to happiness. Most thoughts, you know, infiltrate young minds and say, oh, the way to happiness is through getting a boyfriend, getting a girlfriend, and having lots of sex, and getting drunk and wasted and partying and being cool and blah, 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 blah. That's not true, because a thought has never been anyone or anything to know anything about love or about partying, about fun, or about anything. All thoughts do is lead you down paths that make life miserable, because the thoughts don't know what they're talking about to even engineer happiness to begin with. So I found that there's certain things that thoughts do that try to confuse us. Now, it seems as though thoughts are a form of limitation, a particularly negative limitation, at least in this human condition. And one of the limitations that is presented is the limitation of time. And I want to explain something about time that you may or may not have noticed. And I'm going to get into the logical reasoning why behind time it just doesn't add up. It's ridiculous. Now, we all agree, I'm assuming, and anyone who has anything to offer me in opposition to this, please do, that right now is right now. It's just now. And it's always right now, and another now, another now, another now. It's just a continual newness, a refreshment, you can say, a refresh rate. It's continually happening, and it's always happening, okay? And in this now moment right now, this now moment has never happened before. It's brand new, never happened. It's fresh, clean, new. In this now moment, can you see any beginning or end to this now moment? Can you see anything blocking this now moment from happening? Anything stopping it? It's just happening. You know, is there any way for us to stop this now moment? Stop it. Hey, stop. Freeze frame. Can't do it. Okay, it's happening automatically. Now, if there's no beginning and end to this now moment, and you can't stop it, and it's always been happening, and you were seemingly born into this now moment, and is there any effort for any of you to be yourselves right now? Any effort to stay here and just chill? No. It's just, this now moment is happening effortlessly. There's no energy needed to create the now moment. It's just here. Okay? So, in this now moment, or I wouldn't call it moment, okay? Let's just call this timeless now, if you want to call it that. In this timeless now, can you see any limitation to this now happening? Anything stopping it? There's no way. Okay, so basically what we have here is we have a situation in which there's brand new moment that's never happened before, and there's no beginning and end, and it's unlimited because we don't know what can happen. Anything can happen. There's no limits, no borders, no nothing. So clearly we exist in this now moment, if you want to call it this timeless now. So that must mean that we are unlimited right now, because where's the opposition to the unlimitedness right now, other than a thought saying otherwise? Other than a thought saying, there's limitation. I don't see Superman flying through the ceiling right now. That's limited. Well, a thought could say whatever it wants, because a thought doesn't know anything. So who cares what the thought says? Because what does a thought know? Has a thought ever been me? No. Has a thought ever been you? No. Has a thought ever been that? No. What has a thought ever been to even come up with a conclusion? Now, if you think you are your thoughts, you have these images in your mind, well, I grew up here, I grew up there, I did this, I did that. Where's the time for your history to happen, or past to accumulate, if it's always been the now? It's right now, and it's right now, it's right now, it's right now. Right now it's happening, and there's things happening now. Where has there been time for the past to accumulate in this brand new moment that's never happened before? Furthermore, if this brand new moment has never happened before, it's brand new, it's unlimited, and there's no way to stop it, then how is it that we are using past limited concepts or ideas to describe something that's brand new and never happened before and is unlimited. This is brand new, never happened before and unlimited, right now, brand new, never happened before. So how can we use something from the past that's limited to describe something that's unlimited? Clearly it's a delusion. And where is this past? When did it ever happen? It's only right now. So why am I dreaming about what happened 10 minutes ago or a week ago, or there's pictures of me when I was 7 years old? Where are these pictures coming from? Well, all these pictures are showing up in the now, and a thought says, hey, that came from the past. But even that thought is showing up in the now. So where is this past, other than a thought that says it's from the past, that we believe? But clearly, there's only the now, right here. So when you go outside for a walk, when you go to your car, when you look in every direction, do you see an end to creation? Do you see an end to matter, physical matter, or anything? It's just infinite in every direction you look. And if you look, that body here, this body right here, right there, is part of that infinite landscape. Infinite landscape. And that body is part of the landscape, which is part of what you would call your environment, nature. And there's oxygen going in and out of your mouth, and interaction between all your cells and things, gases, and all sorts of things going in and out of your body here. And this body is part of that environment, and that environment goes on forever in every direction. And hey, the body must be one with the environment, because the moment you were allegedly born, you were always in the environment. Your survival as that body depended upon the environment. And everyone's bodies depend upon the environment, allegedly. So there must be one environment and one thing in control of that environment. And that thing is called life. Life. There's just life in every direction. And life, we have seemingly convinced ourselves that we know what this thing called life is because someone told us this existence. And there's seemingly some thoughts that have come along and said, hey, I'm an individual in this thing, this grand thing called life, and what I say actually can affect things out there, and I'm a real person. I'm a real thing. My name is Renee. Really? Because if you look, now I'll say this, I'll give you a different explanation as to why that seemingly is bizarre, because in this now moment, all you've ever known is this now moment. And you've always been connected to that now moment. Wherever you were, everything else was. Okay? So, at what point were you ever separate from your environment, even in your own perception? Ever? Once? Never. You've never been separate from your environment, even in your perception once. So again, where is the separateness in life? When was it ever separation between you and life itself? Furthermore, humans seemingly have come across some idea that they are not part of nature. And it just sort of an assumption that comes about because these words called man-made and nature and outdoors. I like to be outdoors and like to be indoors. We have all these definitions for what nature is, and really not recognizing it, even in your own imagination. If you can zoom out of the earth maybe a mile up and sort of look over the time span of Earth for 100 years, you could see a lot of wooden buildings being built in the cowboy days, and people running and rushing about, and buildings being built, and people being born and dying, and trees going up and down, and just the kind of the evolution of mankind kind of being born on the earth, going back to earth, buildings being built, cars, factories, planes, everything going on here. But yet, if you zoom out of Earth, there's one Earth, and everything that is on Earth is coming from Earth. So everything is walking, talking Earth, because where was the separation? You're born from Earth, you die from Earth. Where's the separation between you and Earth? And where's the separation between Earth and the solar system? And where is the separation between the solar system and a galaxy? And that galaxy to the super galaxy, and so on and so forth. And where is the separation between your cells and other cells? It's all one thing. One thing, one universe, And it's all alive. It's all a giant machine, if you want to call it. It's all living. And you're alive in your life. So guess what? You must be the universe manifested and walking and talking. Clearly. I mean, it's not rocket science here. You're alive. You're a living life force. Therefore, you must be connected to all life because everything is alive. So there are concepts of separation that make no logical sense at all. I mean, by any means. And these things need to be looked at. You know, for example, even weight, things that weigh things. If now is a now, and always been right now, and it's the first time this now moment has ever happened, where would there be time to accumulate weight? Because that would require time to build weight. But right now is now. It's the first time it's ever happened in this moment. This has never happened before. So where's there time to build weight? Okay? We all know that we can take any situation we want and look at it and turn it into a positive situation when we look at it in a particular way. We know we have that freedom to take any situation and make it negative or positive or neutral. And for that reason, all circumstances in the universe are neutral, inherently neutral, because we have the freedom of choice on how to define something or how to perceive something. This is a choice. A friend of mine can die, and I could say, hey, you know, that really sucks, and we were good buddies, and you know, life's is gonna be you know, not fun without him, and cry and sit there and mourn for a month or a year or 10 years because my body's gone, and because, you know, and this is not disrespectful in any way, but one has a perceived sense of future loss of happiness. In the future, this person won't be here, so in the future, I won't be happy, so I'm gonna cry right now because I'm now sad, I'm not gonna be happy in the future because this person's not here anymore. Or you could say, hey, that was an amazing life, you know, me and my buddy had, good times, you know, learned a lot, we shared each other's, you know, love and laughter and everything, and hey, it's gone, but hey, awesome, thank you, universe, for providing me with this awesome experience, and let's move on and be even happier, hey, it's all good, like, where's the problem here? Now, we have certain ideas that we, again, seemingly are our own ideas. However, we must remind ourselves that everything that we are looking at, tasting, touching, smelling, hearing, seeing, and thinking is something we are merely aware of. We're aware of light moving, sound, touching, tasting, and thoughts. They're just something passing by, like a car drive by. Does that mean we are that which is passing by? If we want to, we can hold on to one of these things that's passing by, a thought or an idea. However, we run into some problems with that. And I say that because in this moment, right now, that's all we have. This moment right now is the only real thing here. And so all manifestation happens right now, in this now moment. All manifestation happens right now. There's no future, there's no past. So if all manifestation happens right now, that means all of your ideas, all of your beliefs, all of your wishes, wants, whatever, must occur now in order for them to even happen. Because where else are they going to occur? Sometime in the future that's not here. We can sit there all day and dream about the future, but it's not here. So why even bother think about it? When this is the only thing that's real and the only thing we can affect is right here, why even bother to think about the past? Why even bother to think about the future? It seems as though the past is a dream of limitation. We're dreaming of limitation because in the present moment, it's unlimited. It's unlimited because where's the limit to it? The only limit is a thought saying there's a limitation. And so let me put that into a different context here. Let's say that you, in this moment right now, are an unlimited being with unlimited power, unlimited awareness, and pure imagination, okay? And now, let's just say with that pure imagination, we have, with all our thoughts and ideas to this current moment, this life, the way we look, the way we think, feel, our surroundings, everything in our life is an accumulation of every thought you've ever had manifested in seemingly a 3D reality that's wrapped around you, in every direction. That is what is happening. You're already manifesting your reality. So we need only to look at a different imagination of it, and it will bend to that new imagination of it. Because you're already imagining it right now by your own belief systems. Your own ideas about what you look like, about what you're capable of, about, hey, I got back pain, and you take Robaxacin or Advil. Whatever you think is happening is actually happening, because you're the one who defined it. Now life, as we know, in this brand new moment that's never happened before, is the first time it happened, and it's unlimited. There's unlimited possibilities. We don't know what's going to happen next. In that unlimitedness, that is where we live, because we're here in the now moment. And in that unlimitedness, we have the power to choose what we want to think about or imagine in any moment. And this is the only time we have to imagine, is because there's nothing else other than this now moment. So in this nowness, in this timeless now, is where the power of creativity happens, because there's nothing else other than this timeless now. In fact, nothing happens outside of this timeless now, because this is all there is. Anything you want to find, any treasure, any mate, money, happiness, it's all now. There's no point on even looking anywhere else, because it's not there. Clearly, it can't be there, because this is all that's happening. And in this timeless now that is an infinite, there are infinite potentials. And with that infinite potential is we have, as these infinite beings, have taken this infiniteness that we have and focused it on limitation. We've focused our infiniteness upon limitation and then believe that limitation. However, how can a limitation be real if you are unlimited? Doesn't make sense, does it? You're unlimited, so how could limitation be real? Well, it seems to be real because within the realm of unlimitedness, it's so unlimited, it actually accounts for unlimited ignorance, unlimited darkness, unlimited stress, unlimited everything in the opposite direction, if you want to call it that. And it also accounts for limitation, because within unlimitedness, you can have limitation, but it can't be real because you're unlimited. So it's kind of a pretend limitation, if you want to call it that. Very much a pretend. So here we all are as infinite beings, pretending to not be infinite, because we're pretending to believe that these stories of limitation are real things. And we found ourselves in a predicament. We found ourselves in a predicament in which our lives are not happy, joyful, blissful at any time, because we're so fixated on past stories of limitation that we've owned. We have these stories about who we are and where we came from and what it all means. And we believe it. And we actually, if I was to ask each one of you here, could you write a better story than the one you've lived? Could you experience something better than you have? Could you imagine a different life that was more pleasurable than the one you currently have experienced? And everyone says, yeah, of course. I could totally, if I could rewrite my life, it'd be completely different. I'd have unlimited wealth, this, happiness, love, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So what's the difference between your story, maybe it's 8 pages, and a Stephen King's novel? It's just a story. Just why would we sit there and stare at a horror story for 10, 20, 30, 40 years when we could just move our attention and look at an amazing story, a joyful, loving, abundant story? Just why would we become addicted to pain and suffering and confusion and ignorance? It is a choice that we've all made at one point or another to entertain stories of limitation. Yet, we seem to think that's normal because everyone else is doing. Yet, who's the one who's thinking these thoughts? Can't be you. You're the one seeing the thoughts. You're the one who's perceiving them in front of you or in your mind or whatever. Just like a car drives by. We don't say, hey, I'm that car. Why would you say I'm that thought? Because the thought says so. I'm your thought. That's true. I'm your thought. I am you. You know, so then we just say, oh yeah, that's me. And then we forget there's a sixth sense. We forget that we're aware of thoughts. We forget that we're the one watching the thoughts. We think, hey, I am the thoughts. But the thoughts are just something you're aware of. It's like you are an invisible being that has six senses. And at least in this human condition, that is, that these six senses are just showing you things, showing you lights, sounds, and sensations. And you're just in this 3D world of lights, colors, sounds, and sensations. And these lights, colors, and sounds and sensations try to convince you you are limited. You are that which you're looking at. You're the limitation. Yet, this voice that says that doesn't even exist, because how does a voice know anything? How do the thoughts know anything? They can't know anything, so they're invalid. So what happens is when you start to recognize that A, time is an illusion, B, weight is an illusion, C, the thoughts aren't real and they're not you, then you come to a conclusion that there's nothing to know, because how can a thought know anything? What is me thinking about anything know anything? It's just pure conjecture. It's like we're all guessing through life. We all go through life guessing that I should go this way, I should go that way, I should buy this stock, I should date this girl, I should date this guy, and sort of guessing to see what works and what doesn't, and always frustrated and it doesn't work out your way. Damn, man, why is this life so hard? Is this money, everything? It's just, man, it's just so difficult to just make things work for yourself. Yet, it is the voices that you were following that led you into situations that were unfulfilling. And they've always done that. They've never not led you into those situations that were unfulfilling. They never filled you up completely. Maybe a temporary pleasure here and there, but then when that pleasure was gone, then what? Right back to where you started from. There's been no progress made. I know people have been meditating for 50 years. 50 years. And still, they're miserable. Still looking for enlightenment. Still searching for themselves. Now, why would you want to search for yourself when you already are yourself? Why would you want to sit there for 10, 20, 30, 40 years and thinking about what you are when you already are what you are? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to think about what you are when you can just be what you are? You just stop thinking, stop guessing what you are, and just let the universe show you what you are. Just stop guessing. The universe is like, man, what's wrong with you? Just stop guessing. Just stop pretending you know what the answers are. Because what does a thought know? And you would say, well, I'm Renee and this and that. Really? Are you Renee? Are you a thought? Are you really a thought? No? Well, then who's this Renee, and what's this story about this past? And why does this story think it knows something about life when it's clearly miserable and clearly doesn't know what's going on? And I sit there and I ask thoughts. You know, a thought will arise. You know, not anymore. I kind of reached a place where the volume of the thoughts is so low. Out of, let's say, 100%, what it used to be, 1%, half a quarter percent, it's like it doesn't exist until I need it, until I pull it forward, comes out, blah, 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 goes back, and it's just silence. And the silence has a presence. I wasn't aware of that before, but silence has a presence, silence is something, but it's nothing at the same time. Meaning silence has an intelligence that is beyond human intelligence. One thing I was afraid of is when thoughts go away, how will I operate? How will I wash my clothes? How will I take a shower? How will I do anything without thinking? I remember reading books 20 years ago and talking about how when a wise man takes a walk, he takes a walk. When a wise man takes a shower, takes a shower. He doesn't think about it, he just does it. And it was hard for me to comprehend that someone could do something without thinking. It just didn't make sense. And now, clearly it does, because there's nothing here. There's no Renee here. There's life here, expressing itself as the character Renee. And that life is just infiniteness. Now, the body here has hundreds of trillions of cells, all neatly stacked on one top of another, making your toenails, creating the knees, organs, blood, eyelashes, brain matter, you name it. And within each cell is over 100,000 processes. Just as it's like a miniature human being, so to speak. And this is a highly intelligently controlled system here. And each cell is infinite. You could zoom in on this cell and never reach the end of matter. It just continually goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in the infinitesimal spectrum and expands into the other way, macrocosm, infinitely. So when, again, where do we ever get the idea that we're even one person? Because there's a whole universe going on, zillions of universes. We're like a galaxy happening here.
One thing that I have to say that has come into my awareness is those thoughts that he was talking about. And if you notice those thoughts, they'll interrupt just about everything, talk you in and out of everything you can imagine. You're having a shower, you love that lovely water that's coming down. Oh, geez, did I call blah, blah, blah. Oh, man, I gotta put that laundry in. It's constant thoughts. So it's not just about that, it's the emotion that you're feeling around the thoughts and what you've created from that experience. So if you don't take anything away from tonight, or you do take lots away from tonight, just really pay attention. What are you thinking? Because it literally is creating your experiences, especially if you are one of these people that go through the day and don't pay any attention to those thoughts and just let the world create for you. So anyways, we're going to let you go and open up some questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
You missed me. Himalaya?
Yes, it's true. The average person has between 60 and 90,000 thoughts a day. 60, 90,000. And are we even aware of what those thoughts are? They're just in the background, creating realities we don't even want to happen. It's pretty amazing. 60,000, 90,000. That's a lot of different realities we're repeating. We're repeating realities, just boring realities. Poverty realities, painful realities, suffering